warmly welcome you to the 17th edition of our Brown Bag series. We sincerely appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to join us today. So we look forward to productive and engaging section. So you are most welcome. The Innovation Plan for Policy Leadership in Agriculture and Food Security, PiLAF. PiLAF was established in 2020 to strengthen agricultural policy processes in Nigeria through research, stakeholder engagement, and evidence-based advocacy. PiLAF works to bridge the gap between research, practice, and policy making to drive sustainable agricultural transformation in Nigeria and beyond. So the purpose of our Brown Bag series is to bring together stakeholders across the private sector, academic, research organizations, donor agencies, policymakers, government institutions, and other actors within Nigeria agri-food system to discuss critical issues affecting the sector. Brown Bag series is a platform designed to encourage cross-sector learning, exchange of ideas, and practical solutions that can drive meaningful impact. So on the last edition, which is the 16th edition, held in collaboration with NIFAS, focused on strengthening climate resilient agricultural extension through more effective policy implementation. The discussion underscored the importance of coordination, digital innovation, and community-driven solutions in building resilient food systems. So on today's Brown Bag series, we focus on a very timely and relevant issue in our agri-food system. So the topic for the 17th edition is innovative agricultural programming. So lessons from the soil values program in the Sahel. So thank you once again for being here. For today's edition, we are delighted to host a distinguished development professional monitoring, evaluation, and learning specialist whose work spans agriculture, food systems, public policy, and evidence-based programming. So it is my great pleasure to introduce our speaker for this session. That's Mr. Joshua Arogunyo. So before inviting him to share his insight, I would like to present his profile briefly. Sorry about that. So now to his profile. Joshua Arogunyo is a development professional and monitoring, evaluation, and learning specialist with over 10 years of experience working at the intersection of agriculture, food systems, public policy, and evidence-based programming. His work focuses on strengthening design, implementation, and learning of development interventions through robust monitoring systems, rigorous evaluations, and adaptive management approaches. Joshua currently serves as MEL coordinator at the International Fertilizer Development Center, IFDC, where he supports large multi-partner and multi-country agricultural programs. In this role, he leads the development of operationalization of MEL frameworks, coordinate data systems across implementing partners, support evaluations, and facilitate learning processes that informed decision-making and improve program performance. His experience spans agriculture and food systems, employment and livelihoods, education, social protection, and public financial management. Previously, Joshua worked with the International Budget Partnership, IBP, where he led a supported policy advocacy initiative focused on agriculture, food security, and service delivery. He has also served as a consultant on several national and multi-country evaluations funded by development partners, including UNDP, GIZ, JICA, ILO, and DFID, covering countries such as Nigeria, Mali, Somalia, and Benin. Joshua has a strong interest in agricultural policy innovation, particularly in how data, evidence, and learning can be better used to influence policy design, improve implementation, and strengthen accountability within food systems. He holds an MSc in Agricultural Extension and Rural Development from the University of Ibadan and is fluent in English, French, and Portuguese. Thank you. With this wealth of experience and expertise, we are confident that today's session will be both insightful and impactful. Please join me in warmly welcoming Mr. Joshua Arogunyo to deliver his presentation. Over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening to wherever you're joining us from all over the world. I believe the people joining us are not just only in Nigeria, so I just want to say thank you so much for having me and to say welcome to this brown bag session. Just want to be clear, I don't know if I'm supposed to present my screen from my own end or you want to present it from your end. Am I audible enough?
Yes, please, you can go ahead and share it from your side. Thank you.
Okay, great. Okay. So I will take this time to share my screen. Just a minute. Okay. So while I'm sharing my screen, I want to say a big thank you to PiLAF, University of Ibadan, for this opportunity. Good. Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Yes. So I guess I'll put it in presentation mode now. Is it in presentation mode?
Yes.
Okay, great. So thank you very much. Apologies because from my own view is in presentation mode, so I may not see hands, comments on the chat box, but hopefully when we start interaction after we've done with the presentation, I'll be able to look at the comments. So just to say a big thank you to the PiLAF for this opportunity to be here again for this brown bag session to discuss this I'll call it a very interesting topic that we have today. I sincerely appreciate the leadership of PiLAF for this opportunity, and of course to thank University of Ibadan because, of course, that's where I did my master's degree. So it's always a pleasure to be able to contribute to knowledge and to share ideas, share experience, and of course to interact with great minds. So I just want to say thank you, and I don't take it for granted. And then, of course, the topic we have today is quite, is a very interesting topic, innovative agricultural programming. And then we hope to draw lessons from soil values program. And I'll be explaining the soil values program later. But just to give context, when we say innovative agricultural programming, just to maybe give more perspective, we're talking about how agricultural programs are designed. So this is more focusing in the design of agricultural intervention. So be it a project or a program. So how do we make it innovative? And as we go on, you will understand why we are discussing innovative agricultural programming. Last thing I want to say is that if you look at the picture on this very slide, you will see the Minister of Agriculture for the Federal Republic of Nigeria is the person sitting at the top end to your right. And then you have the Henk, the president of the International Fertilizer Development Center, next to him. And then you see a lady, that's Omu Kamara, the vice president. And the two other persons you see that you can't see their face wearing northern Nigerian caps, are the national project coordinators of the ACReSAL program, ACReSAL project of the World Bank, and then the L-PRES program of the World Bank. ACReSAL is Agricultural Climatic Resilience for Semi-Arid Landscape, and L-PRES is the Livestock Productivity Resilience Program. And then, of course, for other persons, so this was during one of the signing of the MOU between Soil Values and this national program. And then I'll be explaining details shortly. So just wanted to give that perspective. Now, what is the problem? Have you ever, maybe walking on the street, you see the vehicle of a project, an agricultural intervention pass by, and then later on you see another one pass by and you notice a similarity in those two projects? Or have you read, maybe you're reading the paper, you're reading, a document, and you see this agricultural innovation or intervention going on in this particular place, and then you also hear about another similar agricultural intervention done by a different donor, same location, same type of intervention. Most of the times, these are recurring decimals we see, especially in agriculture. This is not necessarily in agriculture alone. You have all this same thing happening in the health sector. For instance, in HIV, you can see different types of intervention. On HIV alone, if it is education, you see a lot of intervention that are similar, same purpose, same objective in education, but different donors, different partners. So there's generally a significant overlap in agricultural programs in Nigeria. And of course, this is not just a Nigerian thing, it's all over the world, especially Sub-Saharan Africa, where most of development intervention happens. So what we see is that donors, IFIs, international financial institutions, multilateral organizations, they come up with ideas in maybe they launch projects, and then we see that most of the times these projects are similar. Sometimes it is the same thing with different names. Sometimes it's the same thing but different states of intervention. So this is where the problem. This is one of the things that we consider as a problem, that we have many overlaps in intervention. I remember there was a particular time, and I'm being deliberate here because I don't want to mention maybe particular programs, just to respect the donors. But I remember there was a particular time PiLAF was doing a policy work around fertilizer, and then about 2 or 3 other partners were doing something almost similar. I think I would say 90% similar to the work they were doing. Good enough was thankfully, they all came together to work collaboratively to work on that particular document they were working on. That just is an example of how different organizations see the problem, and then they decide to release money or intervention or fund to address the problem. But now, rather than us working together, each organization or each partner is working in silos. So this is usually the problem we see. Now, why does this problem exist? There are a number of reasons why this problem exists. The first is that there is a weak central coordination architecture at the center that coordinates all the affairs. So it's not that we don't have, especially in Nigeria, there is, especially for agriculture, there's the Office of the Special Assistant to the President that, I've forgotten his name, but I know the person in charge, whose mandate, among his mandates, is to coordinate, intervention, coordinate activities of donors and development partners in the country. So one of the challenges is that there's that weak coordination. The other aspect is the structure of Nigeria, because Nigeria is a federation, is a federal unit, and so you have the national government and then, of course, the state government. And sometimes also development partners can as well work up to state governments to partner with state governments, especially for issues that is prevalent in that particular state. And of course, you have to allow the state governments to, to broker those partnerships at the state level. So the structure of Nigeria also allows, for such kind of things. And then, of course, you have donor mandates. Each donor has its mandate. Each donor has an amount of money it wants to spend. It has its own priority areas. And so because of that also, they also have to spend their money and also spend their money in areas where is in areas of their interest. And so if two donors have, interest in agriculture, for instance, it's definitely the chances are high that they are going to have overlapping intervention areas or overlapping areas of interest. And so, of course, it's one of the reasons why we see what we do, what we are seeing. The fourth aspect is the funding cycle. So funding cycle can affect because, for instance, let's say donor A plans to release this money, even if all donors plans to release that money for a particular intervention area in, let's say, January, but because of administrative and bureaucratic process, the time for which that money gets to the partners are different. So what now happens is that the timing of the funding cycle is not the same. So you could also get overlaps in implementation of activities and maybe strategic intervention. And then the last point I would like to make is the aspect of the value chain. So as you all know, in agriculture, there are what we call cash crops. So there are crops of interest, and this crop of interest, of course, donors will tilt to those crop of interest. If it is livestock, donors will also tilt to those livestock of interest. So these are among the other reasons why such kind of things, we see those kind of things happening, especially in terms of donor funding and agricultural programming. Now, what then is the solution? Please, at any point in time that you cannot hear me, please let me know so that, I will be able to cross-check because, like I explained, I'm on full screen mode. All right, so what are the solutions? So from my own perspective and my own experience, there are two large-scale solutions that we can have, to address this problem. Is it possible for us to wish this problem away? No, it will be difficult. Like I said, when interest is involved, it will be difficult for you to eliminate this kind of challenge totally. However, there is a way we can manage the situation. And the first way is having a coordinating unit. We can have a coordinating unit either at the federal or the state level, especially, I'm using Nigeria as a case study, that manages the affairs of all intervention programs in agriculture. An office dedicated to managing partnerships, managing donor relations, managing development partners, and the activities that they seek to implement in the various states or at the national level. And of course, I'm also pitching this at perhaps a policy framework that could help government as a strategy to manage the implementation of these activities, because most of the times when development partners comes with funding in communities, imagine if all the different amounts of, let's say 5 partners are working in one state on a similar mandate. Imagine what will happen if those 5 partners come together. So what A is doing, B does not necessarily have to do it. So it's that coordination. So you can imagine the kind of impact that is going to have. So, PiLAF could also decide to take this, as a responsibility to, advocate and come up with some kind of document that will maybe like a guideline or a framework, and then of course pitch it to state government. This is also something that PiLAF can explore, because since it's still within the confines of policy to help, strengthen the activities of development partners in the country. The second aspect of it is partnerships, partnership and synergy by the program. Now, when we say partnership and synergy, I can hear a voice. I don't know if I should continue. Okay, good. Yes. So the partnership and synergy by the program is also another option. And of course, option 2 is dedicated to those who conceptualize the program, who conceptualize the agricultural intervention. So let us, typically when a donor announces a call, maybe there's an available facility that they want to give out. So in this case, like funding that is available, usually there's a call, and then different partners, organizations, institutions bid for that call. So this is the level where we could also have the solution in such a way that in the design of the program, concepts like this, especially the challenges that we have in agricultural programming, as a way of making maximum impact is considered. And I want to emphasize the part where I say as a way of emphasizing maximum impact, because when we design this program, we have to take into account that if we want to do partnerships with other existing programs, the aim is so that we can make maximum impact. Because at the end of the day, if that's not our goal, then it will be an effort that is, I don't want to say it's futile effort, but just to say that it will not necessarily achieve the purpose for which it wants to achieve. So if the goal is to have maximum impact, then there will be need for partnership and synergy in the design of the program. And this is where, of course, soil values comes. Now, I don't know if many of you, people in the audience have heard about soil values, but I want to introduce you to soil values. So what is soil values? Soil values is a program, is a 10-year program starting from 2023 to 2034, which is funded by DGIS, the Kingdom of Netherlands, and it is a €100 million program. This program is implemented in 4 countries: Nigeria, that's northern Nigeria, Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso. So it's mainly focused in the Sahel. And then, of course, it also has 2 countries as strategic countries, which are Cote d'Ivoire and, of course, Ghana. The design of the program is that it is implemented by the International Fertilizer Development Center, the SNV, and then the University of Wageningen. These 3 organizations are the implementing partners, and then it also has, or you want to call them consortium partners. And then the program also has 5 knowledge partners. 5 knowledge partners. They include AGRA, ICRAF, IITA, ISRIC, and IUMI. So these organizations have come together to form knowledge partners for the program. And what is the program all about? The program seeks to restore degraded lands in the Sahel. So this is the concept of the program, to restore degraded lands. So this program is working in soil health. Soil health. Now, how is this program an example of an innovative agricultural program? That's the point. Now, that's the direction I'm going to. How is soil values an example of an innovative agriculture program? Because, and this is not to say other programs are not innovative. No, that's not the point. All programs are innovative. However, we are looking at innovation from the prism of avoiding program overlaps. From the perspective that we want to make maximum impact. We want to make intervention trickle down to the farmers, to make sure that farmers are actual beneficiaries of the program, and that we don't come back again year after year to do this.
Mr. Joshua, please, we can't hear you. Your mic is muted.
Hello? Hello?
You are welcome,
welcome.
sir.
Welcome back.
Wow. A connection that went off. Sincere apologies, please. Where did I stop? Where did you hear me last? Hello? Can you hear me?
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, sir. Go ahead. We are with you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, I'm just trying to find out where I stopped in my presentation, so I just continue, take it over from there.
You were
Slide
describing
5,
the
sir.
soil values map.
Partnership and
Okay, so I can start from here.
yes, sir.
Okay, so what makes I was talking about the fact that what makes soil value unique, agroecology, and there's a principle that we have in mind in terms of agroecology. We are complying with agroecological principles in all the interventions we are doing, for soil fertility. And we have a concept, a theory of change, that as we improve the fertility of the soil, it will translate into increased production of crops or of the agricultural produce of the farmer, which in turn will translate into increased income for the farmer. Now, most times, most agricultural intervention, we focus only on improved agricultural production. So that's why we have early maturing varieties and all that seeks to encourage farmers to improve their production. However, for us in soil values, we also think, okay, if farmers improve their production, to encourage them to keep farming, we need to think about markets. And so inclusive markets and finance is also another strategic pathway that we are also focusing on in the program. Now, markets is doing two things for us. First is that the market is there as a way of, making sure that what farmers produce, farmers are able to sell. So we are creating an environment that favors, the uptake of those agricultural produce that the farmers are producing. The second aspect also is that we're creating a market for all the agricultural technologies that we're going to expose the farmers to facilitate any easy adoption of those technologies. So for instance, we'll be exposing farmers as a way of improving their soil fertility. We're exposing them to ISF and integrated soil fertility management practices, soil water conservation technologies, agroforestry principles, and many others. So it's one thing for you to train farmers on the adoption of a particular technology, but at the same time, you need to also create the market, because adoption of technology means that the farmers will have to check his own economics to see if he can afford that technology. The technology is cheap, within reach. And another thing again is to ask himself what kind of labor will be required, in the adoption of that technology, because most times there's an associated labor that is incurred by the farmer in the adoption of that new technology. So that is why the inclusive markets and finance is also there. And of course, the aspect of, financing farmers, providing them with capital to improve their productivity. The third aspect of it, which makes it unique, is the enabling environment. Somebody said some time ago, after God, it is government. So you need to factor in government, the role that government plays in terms of policy formulation that favors the farmer. So this is a strategic concept of the soil values program. So like I was saying, what makes soil values unique is the internal structure of the soil values, which is these 3 points I've talked about: the agroecology, the inclusive market, and the enabling environment, which is at the heartbeat of the program itself, but also the external concept of the project, which is that soil values will not implement anything on its own. It will work with already existing World Bank interventions in the various countries where we are implementing. Now, what does this mean? It means that soil values will not go and enter into a community or a state in northern Nigeria and start teaching farmers on integrated soil fertility management, that is ISFM, or soil water conservation practices as a way of restoring soil health, or erosion control measures, that soil values, we look at what is called the FSRP, Food Security and Resilience Program of the World Bank. Now, there are facilities in the World Bank, and when I say facility, I'm talking about funding from the World Bank to national countries that national government access from this World Bank as intervention for their program. Of course, they are loans, but these monies are huge. So, as an example, in Nigeria, soil values is working with ACReSAL, which is a $700 million World Bank funded project, and L-PRES, which is a $500 million World Bank project. Now, what soil value is doing, which is, I'm speaking about the external side of it, is that soil values will complement the efforts of this World Bank funded projects, prioritizing soil health and soil fertility. Now, this is innovative thinking, such that we will only work. So this means that the implication of this is that soil values will only work where World Bank is working. Soil values will have engagement with World Bank, not World Bank now, where ACReSAL, sorry, which is the World Bank intervention, where ACReSAL is working. So soil values will design its work plan based on what ACReSAL is doing as a way of complementing the effort of ACReSAL in restoring soil health. Because ACReSAL is focused on, it has one of its components is to restore degraded lands. And so soil values will come in with its partners, because remember, soil values is not one institution alone. You can see it has 3 coordinating institutions and 5 knowledge partners. So you can see how it is strategically positioned to make sure that this World Bank project deliver while it is also delivering on its priority areas. Now, this is the thinking behind it. Not only that, soil values is also going to point these World Bank programs to national partners. So for instance, let us say that ACReSAL is to do an intervention in a particular location, and soil values identify a gap. Let's say there's an irrigation canal that with the World Bank funding that is to be created, an irrigation canal, or yes, an irrigation canal or something like that to facilitate or encourage dry season farming. Now, soil values will look at that project and say, okay, there is an intensive capital expenditure going on in this area. How can we train farmers on how to, do irrigation, as an example? And so soil values will now look at national partners, research institutes, extension service bodies, all these people you can see on the right side, the national partners, and see who can it identify, of course, with the support of the knowledge partners. Then fund them to provide that complementary service to what ACReSAL is doing. So this is just an example of an innovative approach to agricultural programming, where institutions are not in themselves delivering activities or delivering intervention, but it is also considering what other partners are doing and looking for ways to complement the effort of those partners, because the aim and the objective is to have impact at scale. So that is what makes soil value unique in terms of the conceptualization of the project, which is, of course, we must say it is a novel idea. It's never been done before. Something similar may have been done, but not in this scale, where a program will focus on strengthening another program, and we work with the farmers that program is targeting. It's never been done before, and so it is novel for us, and we are also looking at it and also drawing lessons. Of course, there will be a lot of questions in terms of the M&E structure, as an example, which, of course, that's where I sit. And how do we then measure results, considering that you need to measure results here for this program, and this other program needs to measure results. And of course, there are a lot of approaches. We can do a contribution analysis, we can do attribution, we can do contribution attribution, and then we see to what extent, are we contributing to having this kind XYZ kind of results. So that is how soil values, approach is in terms of intervention for soil fertility. The third side of it, which I would like to just mention, is the fact that for us in soil values, our funding is 100 million euros. However, that 100 million euros is a seed funding. For us, it is a seed funding, because if you recall my previous slide on inclusive markets, The intention is that we will take this 100 million from this donor, which is the government of Netherlands, and we will use it to catalyze 300 million euros additional investment into soil health and soil fertility. So what does that mean? It means that we are hoping that with this 100 million that we are collecting from, that is being given to us by our donor, which is the Kingdom of Netherlands, we are hoping to catalyze, use it as a catalytic funding to bring investment into soil health worth 300 million euros. And of course, so this is more like saying for every 100 million we are getting, we are matching it with 300 million investment. Now, I believe that you believe that there's no donor that will hear this that will not be happy. This is innovation, because, and that's why you have partners like this working with us. So for instance, in ECOWAS, at the ECOWAS, we have what is called the Soil Hub. And so Soil Value is also working in partnership with the Soil Hub. And you know, different partners, different kind of support, because we were trying to make sure that we attract funding and attract investment into soil fertility. So for us, it is not donor money, like, you know, some people used to say. It's not donor money. It is a seed funding to make sure that that money, we use it to catalyze, you know, investment in soil health and soil fertility, such that for every €1 or for every €1 we receive from the donor, we are able to turn it into €3. That is innovation, you know, innovation in agriculture. So, you know, to sum it up together, yes, there are a lot of, I mean, and I'm happy to discuss, you know, the bottlenecks that we might experience, you know, in terms of how we're implementing our programs. But this is just to let us know that, and of course, that when programs are being designed, there are a lot of components that should be taken into account. And just like I mentioned in the soil values example, the internal structure of the program that looks at it not holistically, not just in one aspect, because it is focusing on soil fertility to now start teaching farmers, you know, soil restoration techniques, but to look at it from in terms of after then what next. And so the markets, and then the policy structure that we back whatever we are doing, you know, in the long term. And then the external side of it, to look at it that, okay, this money we're using it as a catalytic fund. And externally also, we want to, rather than start working from the ground up, there are already programs that are doing something similar. And how can we complement and how can we strengthen them? That is an example of innovative agricultural programming. So I think, I mean, my intention is for this conversation to be interactive. So I want to sincerely thank you for listening to my presentation, and I'm happy to take your questions.
Thank you so much. This is really insightful. So please, the attendance link has been dropped into the chat box. So please kindly take a moment to fill in the attendance. Thank you. So now we are going to have 5 key highlights from the presentation. The webinar highlighted duplication in agricultural programs in Nigeria. So the speaker explained why this happens, because of, there are weak coordination, limited data sharing, poor alignment among partners. So, and the solution has been presented, and the solution is soil values program. So, and it's a practical solution. So the program is long-term. So that's, I think, for 10 years program, and it's still ongoing, and it is well funded. Yeah. So, and there are partnership and knowledge sharing. So, and that is the key to success. That is central to success of any program. Thank you so much for this, Mr. Joshua. We are grateful. Now we'll be moving to question and answer session. So I welcome Dr. Reolua to take this session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctors, and thank you to our very esteemed speaker, Mr. Joshua Arogunyo. It's been very insightful listening to you as ever, and I know that in the audience, there are a lot of questions brewing in our minds, and we want to ask Mr. Joshua for clarifications and what have you. So, without much ado, if you have questions, can I just see your hands? Okay, thank you so much. David Nielsen and Sani Madi already have their hands raised. So for those that will be joining them, just put up your hands and you can come in to ask your questions. And please make it very brief and very apt because of time, and we might have other people that might want to ask their questions also. David, can you come in with your question? Thank you.
Yes, I was interested in the World Bank, the connection with the World Bank projects. And when you say $1 invested is matched with another $3, is some of that money coming from the World Bank projects, or could you just speak to that issue? What's the source of the $3?
Okay, we'll take the questions together, maybe 3 or 4 before you answer. Sani, can we have you, please?
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Presenter, for your insightful presentation. We have. I wanted to chip in something regarding this issue of this land values. Here in the northern part of Nigeria, that is like in my state here in Gombe State, ACReSAL has been doing a lot of a project here, starting from construction of construction of a lot of gutters and ecological control of galley erosion here in Gombe State. But the issue of I don't know whether this soil value program can look into the issue of fuel wood exploitation, indiscriminate felling of trees. Definitely, this issue is rampant here in the northern part of Nigeria, which is affecting the soil, because our main concern is the soil. But a lot of things has to be done in that aspect. Felling of tree, indiscriminate felling of trees, is also a catastrophe that is destroying the soil. I think I will suggest if this program can equally look into those aspects, because it's very, 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 very vital. Thank you very much. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you very much for your questions, Dr. Sani and Nelson. While we are with others, Mr. Joshua, can you attend to those 2 questions quickly? Thank you.
Okay, let me just take Oyewale's question because his hand was up. Maybe you missed it.
Okay, who is that?
Oyewale.
Oh, okay. Oyewale, Oyego, can you come in with your questions? I will take the 3 together. Thank you.
Together.
We can't hear you, Oyewale. Or can we hear him? Did we get the question?
No, we can't hear him.
You're muted properly, probably. No, we can't.
What about now?
Okay, we can hear you. Please go ahead with your question.
Thank you so much. So thank you so much, our esteemed presenter, for that insightful and educative presentation. So my questions are short. The first one is that I noticed in your presentation, since you focused more on, let me say, you focused on the crop aspect of soil value. I don't know. I just want to know. Maybe you can shed more light if you are considering the flip side of soil fertility, which is livestock aspect, because I think this interwoven. I don't want to go much into that, but I believe you understand me better. Then secondly, what are those aspects of soil fertility, soil value actually deeming its effort on? I don't know, maybe it's more of organic or inorganic. Maybe you can shed more light on that. And lastly, I don't know why you focus more on the northern Nigeria, particularly the Sahel country. Maybe you can also give us the rationale that that's why you focus more on this basis. Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah, go ahead. Yes.
All right, thank you very much for all your questions. So I will start with David's question. More explanation in terms of when I say for every $1 we are, matching it with $3. This is not from the World Bank side. This is, recall that I said that we see the money we're receiving from the Dutch government as a seed funding. And so for every $1 we spend from our donor, which is the government of Netherlands, we are using it to catalyze investment worth $3. So we want to match it with $3. We are attracting investment. And of course, the place to bring in to catalyze that investment is in the area of inclusive finance. So we were bringing in banks as a way of coming to invest in soil fertility. We are catalyzing the soil fertility space. We're using the soil fertility space as a catalyst for investment. We are in partnership, of course, maybe from the banner you saw OCP, in terms of production of crop-specific fertilizers, site-specific fertilizers. So we already have access to the farmers through the World Bank funded programs. And so it will be easy for us when we want to improve soil fertility to say, these are site-specific fertilizers, as an example, just using that as an example to say, okay, in Kano State, in XY local government area, this is the nutrient that is deficient for this area. So farmers in this area, if you want to buy fertilizer, buy a fertilizer that contains these nutrients. Now we already can speak to the fertilizer blenders to say, produce this fertilizer, and we have already spoken to the farmers that this is the fertilizer that is needed for their area. So we are catalyzing that environment such that we are not attracting private sector investment in, for instance, the blending of that site-specific fertilizer, and then, of course, making it accessible for these farmers to purchase, which will now, of course, when it gets to their soil, it solves the problem, and then the farmers are able to have improved yield. Same thing also for the different, so even if we're doing for maybe crop specific, if you're a millet farmer, this is the fertilizer to use for your millet. So we're using every one, because like for every one we receive, we are matching, trying to create a market. Of course, the technology aspect, and of course the produce aspect, to use it as a catalytic funding to attract private sector investment, not just private sector investment, because it's in three categories: private sector investment, development partners, and other donor investment into soil health. So that is our thinking in terms of, for $1 we are matching and attracting $3 into soil fertility. I also noticed, just so I can be done with you, I also noticed you on the chat you asked about the relationship between the soil values and the African Initiative, Soil Initiative for Africa. Yeah, they are two distinct initiatives. However, we are not oblivious of the fact that certain initiative for soil health exists. Like, for instance, Soil Values is also working with the Soil Hub at the ECOWAS, which is I think it's funded by Bill and Melinda Gates. So we are also we are working in concert with other other initiatives or programs that is seeking to mainstream soil health. Our intention is there. And of course, our director of partnership is also working to make sure that we have partnership with all these actors. And where there's areas of synergy, we focus and emphasize on the area of synergies. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. We just want to look at what other partners are doing and how can we, with our own fund, leverage on our strengths, on the strength of these partners, to make sure that we have impact at scale. That's the idea. Mr. Sani talked about what ACReSAL is doing in Gombe. I'm grateful and I'm happy that you recognize ACReSAL in Gombe State. Yes, of course, if ACReSAL can do it, Soil Values can do it. We have not yet, Soil Value has not yet entered into Gombe State. We're currently in Kano, Jigawa, and Bauchi because it's our pilot state. But hopefully, as time goes on, we'll be entering and other states as time permits. Soil values can come in that area if it identifies that is the gap that ACReSAL is not meeting. So ACReSAL is doing a lot of things. For instance, you say gutters and all that. But if we identify that is the gap that exists, and that's what we're doing in Kano and for the other states where we're working, we come and we look at the work plan of that World Bank funded program, which is ACReSAL in this case. And when we identify the gap, so all the gaps we identify as regards soil health, because we also have to make sure we pay attention to our own area of focus. So those areas that is our area, soil health, we will now focus on it, and then of course provide support, the technical support, either coming from our knowledge partners or the local national partners that we have to implement those activities. So of course, when we get to Gombe, it's also something that we can also consider. And then, of course, the question around livestock. So recall, I said there are two World Bank funded programs we're working with at the moment. ACReSAL and L-PRES, Livestock Productivity Resilience Support Program. Now, it is because we also see the nexus between livestock production and soil fertility. Livestock production and soil fertility. So there's a livestock crop integration, livestock crop, fertility, and there's a connection between them. And so also we're working, of course, with those programs. We also have activities because we have identified gaps that we want to fill in, for instance, training farmers on how to grow pasture, which will be good for the livestock, and at the same time, harvesting, organic waste products from livestock, to improve soil fertility. So we have that into consideration, and we are working with L-PRES across in the north, where we are working in as part of that. And then, of course, you asked why we are focusing on the north, in northern Nigeria. For us, soil fertility is our focus, and the Sahel is more prone to soil. I mean, Sani talked about erosion, deforestation. It does not mean that deforestation is not happening in the south, but if you're looking at the arid lands and the arid landscape that we have, then it makes more sense to have this intervention in the northern part of Nigeria that is desertly encroached, that is facing serious deforestation, I've talked about desert encroachment, that temperatures are high, and of course it's affecting the physical properties of the soil. It makes more sense to do that intervention in that area. So that is why the focus is on the Sahel. So I mean, this is the total questions. I think I hope I've been able to answer all the questions, but I mean, I'm happy to take more questions.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that, for the clarity and for the insight that you've thrown into what some of our audiences have had in mind and they've brought to the fore. Do we have any other person with questions? While we still have our presenter online. Okay, if not for me, I would just want to ask quickly, what are the sustainability plans for soil values? Perhaps after the expiration of the 10 years and probably the funds are not so forthcoming, are there any transition plans? Are there any sustainability plans? Are there any efforts to make sure that domestication has happened as much as possible, and these 4 countries participating can take things further where external funding ceases or something? Are there plans?
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. So yes, it is not like it is a separate plan. It's a plan within the original plan. And that is the idea of working with national partners. The idea of working with national partners is that as they are working to support the work of these World Bank funded programs, we will build their capacity. We will build their capacity in the process, such that even when this program is over, the national partners already have built capacity to work within the environment that they've provided the support. That is the on one hand what the plan looks like. The other plan is that, of course, thankfully, these World Bank programs that we're supporting will end before soil value ends. So we also hope to bring on board some other national programs, on board soil value. So, as an example, the National Soil Health Scheme that was recently launched by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, we're part of the process and we've been engaging the process because that's a national level program that we are also bringing on board. So this now means that as government is making expenditure in trying to set up the soil health scheme, soil values will also complement the effort of the government by providing some form of backstopping support, identifying gaps and filling those gaps where necessary. So this World Bank programs will end before soil value ends, so it's also good we'll be bringing on board other programs. And also, when soil value comes to an end, because soil fertility is not a sprint, it's a marathon, so it's 10 years. When soil values comes to an end, also we expect that the national partners, the capacity of national partners would have been built, the markets will now be active and functional, such that it can now sustain itself. So farmers now have learned their build capacity to be able to identify how to improve their soil fertility, how to conserve water in their soil, especially in the arid. And then of course they are confident that there is a market for them when they produce, there is a market that is ready to uptake. So that now becomes organic, it sustains itself, self-sustaining because the market is already there. They just know that they need to produce. They've learned the art of how to improve their soil fertility. They just know that they need to, to produce. And this reminds me, somebody, I think it was Oyewale that talked about whether what we're promoting, whether it is organic or inorganic. Yes. So we are following agroecological principles. And of course, we want the fertility of the soil to happen naturally. So we're teaching farmers, organic principles, agroecological principles, and of course, using organic fertilizer, training them on the use of organic fertilizers and all that. But remember that agriculture is also a business. It's also a means of livelihood. So while you are training on those organic means, which takes a while for you to see impact and to see results, we are also making available the inorganic. So it's not that we are doing away with the inorganic, no. The organic, we're doing it together, but we are also teaching the farmers how each of this, how it works, when to do what, when not to do what. And so that's how we are approaching it, because you don't want to, on one hand, say farmers should focus on organic, when, for instance, if you want farmers to focus on organic, where are the materials? How will you source the materials for them? So you want to make sure that the inorganic is available, organic amendments are available, so they are complementing, and then we are teaching them techniques like the soil water conservation practices, such that because soil fertility is not in itself to improve the nutrient of the soil, it's not in itself that. There are other things that you need to take account. I mean, as a matter of fact, why we have ACReSAL as part of our knowledge partner is to provide agroforestry training for farmers, so that we can begin to provide some form of shade and cover in those areas of land. We're teaching farmers, as an example, ZI techniques and half moon as soil water conservation practices that they can adopt. And at the same time, we're also bringing in agroforestry into the equation. These are organic ways that we help improve the texture and the structure of the soil, which of course will translate into improved fertility, soil fertility. So yes, there's a sustainability plan. Back to you, Dr. Ore. There's a sustainability plan, but it is embedded, it's interwoven in the entire process of the program.
Yeah, all right. Thank you so very much. Thank you very much. I have not seen any other hands up for questions. It's good to have you on this edition of the Brown Bag series, presenting a program such as Soil Values, which is quite unique, a program that is leveraging on existing infrastructure, existing programs, and that is using novel concepts, integrating agroecology, market and finance, and even the enabling environment that we have here in Nigeria and in the 3 other countries. You want to say something?
Yes.
Mr. Joshua? Okay, please.
Yes. You know, I made mention of the fact, you know, as in my own, I'll call it my thesis, talking about the coordinating unit. And I talked about the fact that PiLAF could be instrumental in, you know, helping drive conversation around that coordinating unit. I personally think that it's something that, you know, PiLAF as an institution should look out. It's not necessarily something brand new, but looking at where will it be housed and how the modality should, you know, perhaps a policy document in that direction, and how government can make sure that, you know, intervention around agriculture is, you know, well coordinated. And I think it's something that PiLAF has the capacity to do. Just wanted to mention that.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for the insight. We've noted that. Thank you for recognizing PiLAF's abilities also. So we'll be on the lookout, and we see how we can support the soil values program, especially in Nigeria, to see that it becomes very successful and very sustainable. Interestingly, we were at the launch of the National Farmer Soil Scheme at the State House also when it was launched, and we know that some of these things are mentioned, and the integration to ensure that all these programs don't just come and go. We have good results, and there's this template that ensures sustainability. Even when the donor leaves, we can always transform and take what we have on ground further to help our farmers to improve food and nutrition security in our dear country, Nigeria. Thank you so very much. In the absence of any other questions, I want to invite the head of our administration. Okay, Dr. Okay.
I think Dr.
Okay. Oh, Dr. Benjamin, please, can you ask your questions quickly? Sorry, that was an oversight. I didn't see the end.
So good afternoon, everyone. And I want to thank our presenter for an insightful presentation today. I have just a question. Towards the beginning of your presentation, you mentioned, am I audible?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Okay. You mentioned the challenge of multiplicity of interventions and activities in our country. And it is really a challenge because it leads to wastage, it leads to sometimes conflict and all of that. So I'm looking at what is your advice about managing this particular challenge in our country? Will it be good or necessary for the government to come with a coordinating?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Okay, so will it be necessary or needful for the Ministry of Agriculture to come up with a coordinating body that can, in a way, serve as a gateway to manage different projects coming to our land and ensuring that these are well coordinated to give us the desired development instead of multiplicity of activities? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
Okay, before you answer, I think Abubakar's hand is up too. Okay. Abubakar Garuba, can we have you two quickly so you answer both together?
Yeah, thank you very much. It was a wonderful presentation. I just want to quickly ask, are you also planning to scale this project to other states within the Sahel? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much for the question. So I'll start with Dr. Ben's question. Yes, it will make sense to have a coordinating unit in government that coordinates not just development partners, that coordinates development partners in Nigeria. But it is difficult. Why is it difficult? It is difficult for several reasons. Number one, it is that the interest of donors are different. I mean, it's broad spectrum. A donor can be interested in eyes, just eyes alone. Like you have, what's this organization? Sight Savers. Sight Savers are just interested in the health of our eyes. And then, of course, catering for people who have visual impairment, blindness, and the rest of them. The other, organizations interested in different things. So putting everything under one envelope will be very difficult because of the diversions of interest. However, we can take a cue in terms of what we see with the SDG. So, for instance, there is a special advisor to the president on the SDG. Now, what is the function of the office of the special advisor to the president of the SDG? Is to coordinate all activities that lines up or links up with the SDG. With UNDP, I think UNDP as the point of contact. Now, in that sense, it makes sense because everything that we want to do as regards sustainable development and all the SDG goals, you have a center, and the OSA SDG coordinates those activities, or at least is in the know of those activities. But that is from the UN lens, because we have other organizations doing something that links to the SDG, but may not necessarily have anything to do with the OSA SDG. So that is where the challenge comes, because the question will not be, so if you put everything in one cup, it will be difficult to manage because you have many partners, many donors with their very various interests. So it will be difficult. And that's why I say that, and of course, the reason for my suggestion that PiLAF could come up with a policy framework. Perhaps, for instance, as an example, for every ministry with their mandates, they should have an office dedicated to coordinating all development partners' initiatives around the mandate of that ministry. So, for instance, if an NGO is interested in housing, then the Ministry of Housing should have an office that coordinates donors who are interested in housing. Ministry of Agriculture have an office that coordinates. Ministry of Education have an office that coordinates. That will be a better approach than having one office that is central, maybe like how you have that was now moved to Humanitarian Affairs, the House Conditional Cash Transfer, social, I forgot the name, that then have that, National Social Safety Net, NSIO, National Social Investment Office, that's the name. National Social Investment Office that coordinates everything. It will be difficult. So not having that one office, but having an office situated in the ministry to coordinate, I think that would be better, because at the end of the day, most of these programs will also have to touch base with the policymakers within their domain. And that way they'll be able to touch base with the coordinating office within the domain. That's what we advise would be the best approach. Mr. Garba asked about moving to other locations. Yes, of course, hopefully, we intend to move. Once we are done with the pilot phase, we intend to move to other states as God gives us the strength and the opportunity. So we'll be willing to come to, to move more into some of those core, not necessarily core, but the dry landscapes where self-activity is an issue.
All right. Thank you so much for the brief answers. If I may just add, if it's not against what you've just said, but I think during the council, the National Council on Agriculture and Food Security in Kaduna in November last year, I think a memo like that came up, that a unit should be enacted within the ministry to coordinate activities of donors so that we don't have overlaps, we don't have conflicts and all of that. But I think something like that is ongoing, but I don't know the state that it is currently. So thank you very much, Dr. Benjamin and Mr. Garba, for your questions. The conversation is getting more interesting. I see more hands, even though we are trying to close and make sure we don't keep people here for too long. I want to ask our very erudite professor and father of extension, Professor Johnson ACReSAL. Can you ask your questions briefly, sir? Prof, sir. Okay.
I think Prof's mic is muted.
Yes, it's muted. While we wait for Prof, I think I saw Sani's hand up again. Am I correct?
Yes, Prof. Sir. Thank you, sir. I just wanted to ask. Yes, it's just briefly. I just wanted to ask, how can one be part of this development, sir? That's my question. Thank you.
Yeah, that was the last thing I was going to mention before we close. I was saving it for last so that those who wait till the last will get the.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you, Prof.
Thank you very much. I want to thank the presenter for his effort. I just wanted to find out whether he is in contact with the Institute of, I don't know the correct name now, Soil Institute, Soil Academy, or whatever it's called. Are you in contact with them as to what this program is all about?
Okay.
That's question number 2. Most of what you've said has been mentioned in the last 50 years. Biggest problem is ineptitude and no action being taken, and if you want to use a better word, lack of implementation. How are you going to ensure that what you are proposing as a soil intervention will be implemented within the framework of the program, and as somebody has requested, after the 10 years duration of the project?
Okay. Thank you so much, Prof. I will answer your first question. Yes. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, great. So yes, for us, we are in touch with the National Institute for Soil Science, led by Professor Chudi, and then of course the Soil Science Society of Nigeria. As a matter of fact, the last 2 or 3 Soil Science Society of Nigeria's conference has Soil Values has actually been part of the sponsors of the Soil Science Society of Nigeria, and then of course we are in touch with NIS. Some members of the Soil Science Society of Nigeria have also been with us in the soil sampling activities that we've done. We recently concluded the mapping of degraded hotspots in many parts of northern Nigeria. We took over 23,000 soil samples and of course this is what informed why I was saying that of course we are considering cross-specific fertilizer, site-specific fertilizer, and all those things. So yes, to answer your question, yes, we are in touch. Your second question, sir, in all honesty, change will require time, but let it not be too long, right? And what we are doing in soil values is to see how we can come up with something that is novel. Is it perfect? Perfect, I think perfect would be a strong word. But we're doing something that has not been done before, where a program will not go to the field and implement, go to the field to implement, but we look at existing programs and then identify the gaps in conversations with them. Not that we just sit down in our office and say this and speculate that this is the gap. We go and meet these programs and say, okay, what are your work plans? What are your mandates? What do you want to do? And then we see the gaps that exist, and then we come to strengthen the gap. This is our approach in soil values. And then we are also hoping that other programs will take a cue from this, and replicate it, rather than have projects scattered here and there, and we are doing the same thing. We can come together and form a synergy and implement and make more impact at scale. Hopefully, this is, of course, the expectation is that before this program even gets to the end, other programs will also take a cue and take lessons from what Soil Value is doing and replicate the same. So that before the program comes to an end, or by the time the programs come to an end, we're now beginning to see a lot of collaborations, institutional collaboration, programmatic collaborations, and then of course even personnel exchanges also, because that's one of the things we want to foster, where you can come and learn from what other partners are doing and replicate them, because we have an intervention area called scoping and learning, where these things can be done. So of course, we are hopeful that our approach will deliver results, and then of course, as we evaluate midterm, when we get to midterm, we evaluate, If there's a need for us to make adjustments, of course, we'll be willing to make adjustments. What we just don't want to do is to reinvent the wheel. We want to take a cue from what other partners are doing.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Dr. Benjamin, do you still have any questions? Your hands are up. Do you still have questions for the presenter?
I think it's the last hand.
Okay, I don't think so. So thank you so much, Mr. Joshua, for the very apt and insightful presentation. You mentioned earlier that you were saving something for the last. So for us that have, those of us that have stayed behind, can we benefit from that very juicy information that you have for us?
Yes. So yes, the word juicy is I'm scared of juicy, but just to mention that yes, we can. I mean, we can support soil values in different ways. We have 5 intervention areas. I mentioned the 3 intervention pathways: agroecology, inclusive markets, enabling environment. Unfortunately, we cannot ask you to come and support us as an individual, except you have that capacity, you know, as an individual. When it comes to soil fertility and soil management, where should we want to involve an individual consultant, but our priority is institutional. That's where we are. Our preference is institutional, and we're willing to partner. Like I said, what we want to do is to partner. So for PiLAF as an institution, yes, the enabling environment area will appear to be your strongest area in how you can, you know, work with soil values in terms of the policy direction, policy framework, you know, things around fertilizer, soil health, you know, climate resistant, farmers' resistance to shocks, and I know you've done work around that, you know, to provide those opportunities for exchange, you know, exchange of ideas, collaboration, and even convening for policy engagement. I think that is where that's the pillar that, you know, PiLAF is, you know, better positioned to deliver. So if you have an idea, you know, something that you think you can also deliver in terms of soil fertility, maybe as an individual, you can reach out. I mean, you can reach out to me, and then let's share ideas, let's converse, and then of course I can now point you in the right direction and the best approach how to how you can come on board on the program. So just wanted to put that out there. But then,
all right,
you should read the program documents. It's available. So go on the website and read about soil value, so you know where best your capacity and your competencies is most suited. It's important.
Thank you very much. We are approaching the top of the hour to close the program. At this juncture, I want to invite our head of administration to give us a closing remark. It's been a very eventful day and very insightful day. So over to you, Mr. Eridele.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and I hope you can all hear me.
Yes.
On behalf of PiLAF, on behalf of principal investigators, Professor Adegbenga Adekoya and Professor Diola Dinikinju, I'd like to thank you, Joshua, a colleague par excellence. Thank you for the great and insightful presentation. You've opened our eyes into what soil values is all about. And I think it's indeed a unique intervention in the sense that it doesn't go out. That is the project. You do not go out to start something. Rather, you leverage some values leverage on existing programs, existing interventions, and looking for gaps. You know. But one question I would also want to ask is, what if, you know, I know it's not possible, but what if you do not find gaps in a particular intervention? What happens? You know? But the truth is, there are always gaps. There's no perfect, no intervention solves all the problem. So it might just be you maybe expanding, maybe an intervention covers, maybe for example, a local government, you can probably take it to an additional local government or something. No? So there are always gaps. There is no perfect intervention, and so I think it's a good one, and we hope that with people like yourself that are vast in this kind of engagement, you know, we believe that soil values would achieve its its aim and objectives. I'd like to thank everyone who has created time to join. We have erudite people. Professor Pere is still on the call. Thank you very much, sir, for joining and for the question. And David Nelson also joined earlier, and I think he also contributed. Sandy Madi, I can see you there. Linda Jerry. I'm trying to just call out a few names I can call just to appreciate everyone. Dr. Harrison Kocha, thank you. Mr. Mohammed Garba, thank you. Kafayat Alo Baluki, thank you. Ifulu Anoja, Ibrahim Adebeshi, Maleyanu, and everyone, Sisi Chafua, Damlari Emmanuel Blanley, I know Lume. Thank you all, and for those that have left for other maybe engagement. Thank you, and we hope that you will have your email addresses. We hope that when we get across to you for the next brown bag, which should be, I think, in April, you'll be able to join and also probably extend our invitation to other colleagues, because it's always good to have these discussions. Just as Professor Pere or Joshua's response to Professor Pere, a lot of these things, for years, several years, things have been done, but we would not stop. I think we'll just continue to hit hard and probably, of course, try it in different ways. We cannot continue to do the same thing over and over again, but we'll continue to do something. So the problems that have remained, we'll continue to find different ways to solving the complex problems facing the agri-food systems in Nigeria, especially as it relates to soil, based on the theme for today. So I'd like to thank everyone for creating time to join, and feel free to reach out to us. PiLAF, we're on all platforms: Twitter, LinkedIn. We have our website. If you just Google PiLAF, you can get across to any one of us if you have anything to share, any suggestion, and on how we can partner together. And thank you, Joshua. We'll be looking forward to partnering with Soil Values, in the policy area, and we'll reach out to you, and hopefully, the work continues. So again, on behalf of everyone, thanks to the anchor, research associate, Dorcas, thank you. It's our first time of anchoring this event, and thank her very much. And also our head of research and partnerships, Dr. Oluwakon, for also ensuring that we work within the time frame. So thank you, and I wish you a good rest of your day. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thank you very much, and bye.
It was a great pleasure. Bye.